Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Talk. I'm Jon Berry, and in today's video, Kenobi, Fett, and Anthologies. Before I continue with the video, I am aware of the news reported by Collider that the Star Wars Anthology movies are allegedly being put on hold in order to focus more on Rian Johnson's new trilogy and the Benioff and Weiss series, and Lucasfilm's subsequent denial of such a delay. My thoughts on this is I hope Lucasfilm will only delay the anthology movies that they have allegedly put to the side so that they can make the best films possible by giving themselves more time to work on them. As I really would like to see how they would tackle an anthology movie featuring Obi-Wan Kenobi. Speaking of that, let's move on to my thoughts regarding the all-but-confirmed Kenobi movie and the rumored Boba Fett movie, and other thoughts I have regarding what I would like to see from future Star Wars Anthology movies. A Kenobi Anthology movie is a Star Wars Anthology movie I want the most, largely because I'm extremely interested in how such a movie will be executed, particularly if Ewan McGregor is able to reprise his role. What I would like out of a Kenobi film is not a traditional Star Wars film in method, but I still want the elements and themes to be Star Wars. But how I want the story to be told, and the story told to be something we have not yet seen in Star Wars, both in canon and within Legends. What I would love for a Kenobi movie is for them to do a movie and tell a story that is within Obi-Wan Kenobi's mind. Essentially, a film that is all in his head and set not long after Revenge of the Sith Episode 3. Let's say within 5 to 10 years, give or take. The main reason I would like a film set primarily in Obi-Wan's head is so that the film could go to multiple new locations without forcing Obi-Wan off of Tatooine. And it would also allow for Maul to be the main villain without disrupting the canon continuity, because he has not seen... Well, let me clarify that. Obi-Wan and Maul have not seen each other since probably within a few days, weeks, maybe months of the ending of the Clone Wars. So they did not see each other until about 3 years before the Battle of Yavin, if I remember correctly, from Star Wars Rebels, episode Twin Suns. You can go check out my review of it, which will be up in the corner, either this corner or this corner, I can't remember. Let's say this corner? But, yeah, go check out my review for Twin Suns. But that's when we know they met, and they had not established in Rebels that they have not seen each other since the Clone Wars. So, a On His Head film would allow Maul to be the main villain without disrupting canon. And since we know Obi-Wan has experienced a lot of tragedies in his life, it is likely that once alone on Tatooine with no one else from her company, he would easily become depressed. And that's something that would be nice to explore in a Star Wars film. The premise I set up could easily lead to a very dark and different Star Wars film, but could equally as easily create a very smart and intelligent Star Wars film that might be more in line with an episode of Star Trek in regards to subject matter involved. Depression. We have never really seen that tackled in Star Wars before. And maybe even YouTube probably will not advertise this video once I get to my 1,000 subs, but suicide even. That's, who knows what Obi-Wan experienced, and we could explore some themes along those lines, and Obi-Wan learning to come to terms with them. In addition to have, as I just stated, in addition to the film having Kenobi come to terms with all the tragedies he has had in his life and he has suffered through while alone on Tatooine, the film can also include flashbacks to his training with Qui-Gon Jinn, and potentially we could even see Qui-Gon Jinn as a Force ghost. And subsequently, Obi-Wan can get some wise counsel from Qui-Gon, either in the presence of the Force Ghost, or by having Obi-Wan remember something from his training. And that can be part of the, learning his dealing with it. He can talk to the Force Ghost, talk to somebody he respects, somebody he trusts, which will connect nicely to a theme of overcoming depression and inner demons. And as for the rumored Boba Fett anthology movie, I do not want it. It is not needed, pure and simple. Now, I would not mind a bounty hunter movie that includes Boba Fett, but mainly, I do not want a Boba Fett movie, as such a movie would, of course, and obviously, feature Boba Fett in a titular role. And, simply put, I don't mind him being in another movie, but I don't want him to be the main character, because I feel like Fett is the one where we don't want to destroy too much of the mystery around him. Granted, I do think he needs to be shown in another piece of canon where he really shows how dangerous he is. We haven't, because he always goes up against our heroes, and we know our heroes have to come out, and that's how we show that the heroes are in danger, by putting Fett up against him. We need to put Fett up against somebody that Fett can just destroy, and we have seen that a little bit in the Clone Wars, but I say in another film, not featuring Boba Fett, but see it, that's fine. But I don't want it to feature Boba Fett as a titular character. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's move on to some other thoughts I have regarding what I would like to be turned into a Star Wars Anthology film. One of the things I would like to see is a Clone Wars film. Live action, of course. Now, we've already had the television series and the animated movie that went with it, though that probably should have just been 4 episodes of the television show, as it was originally intended. But I want a live-action war film, something we have not really seen yet in the Star Wars movie. A movie that is focusing on those who fought on the front lines, not the heroes, not the Jedi, or the top clones as we got in the television series. I want a film that shows the unsung heroes, the grunts, or the Clone Wars, or the Galactic Civil War, or potentially a war during the Old Republic era. Now, I do want to address the fact that Rogue One does kind of show the unsung heroes, but when you look at the main cast, the main people that we really focus on, they're not ordinary. Genoso, raised by the leader of the partisans. Then we have Cassian Andor, rebel intelligence, whose job is to do the extraordinary, to get intelligence that no normal soldier could not get. You got Baze, okay, not much about him, but Chirrut, not a Jedi, not really Force sensitive, but I would say Force attuned and very skilled and blind. And then a reprogrammed Imperial droid who's very skilled at what he does. None of them are ordinary. I want ordinary people who are thrust into battle and have to accomplish something. Nothing special about them. They have not been established previously. They're truly just ordinary common grunts thrown and thrust into a situation above and beyond what they were prepared for, and they now have to deal with it. Another film concept I would love to see them tackle in the Star Wars movie is a spy movie along the lines of James Bond. Just imagine a James Bond-esque spy for the Rebel Alliance or the First Order or the Resistance or the Republic Separatists attempting to gather some crucial piece of information or stop some sort of information from leaking to the enemy. You could say Rogue One kind of has this, but I'm really talking about like a spy film, not a intelligence operation, but a single spy who probably has only has to meet with a few contacts, like truly Cold War era style spy film. That I think would just be so neat to see done in the Star Wars galaxy, and I think we would probably enjoy it. Be a nice twist on a classic movies genre. And maybe they can poke fun in it as well to add the humorous part, but that would be so neat to see. But speaking of crucial information, I would love to see a Rogue 2. And by that I mean I want a film where 1, we finally have a film featuring a non-human lead, that being a Bonson, and 2, the stealing of the plans for the second Death Star. I've always found that to be a more fascinating and interesting theft than those of the first Death Star in premise. And I also felt like they were just given a throwaway line not too much attention given to it. While for the first Death Star, they were featured in the opening crawl. It seemed more important, and I want this lesson one to be given more importance somehow, to show that really this was another grand operation crucial to the war effort. Plus, as I said before, such a film would be a good way of breaking the tradition of Star Wars that all the leads are human. And this film will provide the perfect opportunity, because since we know Bonsons are the ones responsible for getting the plans, we can cast an actor who can play a Bonson who is the lead person in getting the plans. And we know they were crucial to that operation. And I want the mission to be named in a way of honoring those who stole the first Death Star plans, hence Rogue 2. The last idea I want to discuss is a Star Wars film that tells the story of the formation of the Old Republic or of the Galactic Republic, or this could be done as a trilogy of films rather than a single film. This would be a fascinating subject to approach, as it would potentially allow us to see a large number of Jedi and Sith fighting each other before the Sith Rule 2 came into effect. In addition, this type of film will allow for a political plot that is actually interesting, or at least no more boring than The Phantom Menace on C-SPAN. That concludes today's episode of Star Wars Talk on Kenobi, Fett, and Anthologies. I would like to hear from you and to continue the discussion. What did you think of my ideas for Star Wars movies, and what are some of the ideas you guys have? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for future Star Wars content. Also consider following me on social media and supporting me on Patreon for extra and early content, including the bloopers for this video. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you, always.